had a lot of comments from you guys about whether we could do a yoga video against depression. So this is for all of you who have asked us and all of those who are looking for some physical exercise as well as breathing exercises to make them feel better. We want to focus today not on thinking ourselves happy, not being in our head, but rather being in our soma, so using our body to make us feel better, to create a calm and happy chemistry in our body. And that's essentially all it is, because we want to counter what's going on in our body, even if it's a psychological thing that has made you feel the way that you are. It is an actual physical thing that is going on in your body. So we're working on the physical side of things, and if you're not in the mood to think of things that you're grateful for today, you absolutely don't have to. So we're going to start by coming onto our mat and bringing our feet together, and then we'll recline down onto our back in Supta Baddha Konasana, the reclined angle pose. And then we open our palms to the ceiling, and we gently let our knees drop on either side of us. If you're uncomfortable here, just bring your feet a little bit further away from your body, and then start noticing your breath and where it's going as you breathe in and out. And the nice thing about just noticing the breath is that it automatically becomes deeper, just naturally, without us forcing it. You might want to put a hand on your stomach and one on your chest, and notice how, as you're breathing in, your chest and ribcage expand, but your stomach expands as well. For those who are new to yoga, so this is for all levels, in yoga we add diaphragmatic breath to our normal high and mid breathing, our clavicular and intercostal breath, and that engages all of our lung apparatus. Now we want to focus on our out breath and try and prolong it. So keeping the in-breath as nice and steady as it is. And just taking our time on every out-breath. Scientifically, what happens when we do that is that we're activating our vagus nerve, the longest cranial nerve in our body, which then sends signals to our brain to stop producing stress hormones and start producing happy hormones. So that in itself should already start the process of making you feel a bit more relaxed. You can relax the hands down again and feel yourself completely open in your upper body. And then from here, we'll just bring the hands to our thighs and push the knees together. We'll slowly hug the knees in towards our chest and give ourselves a little bit of a massage, so our lower back is in touch with the mat as well, and we'll just rock from side to side. You can keep your eyes closed unless you're unsure what the position looks like. And then from here, we just release the hands to the ground. The arms come right next to us and the palms are facing downwards, and we straighten the legs towards the ceiling. So we want to aim for straight legs, pointed toes, and the toes point towards the ceiling. But if for some reason you're a little bit tight in your hamstrings and this is too much, just bring your knees in towards you. You can flex the feet as well if that feels more comfortable. So lots of different options here. There's no right or wrong. And this inversion is a really great thing against depression. So we're just staying here and we keep noticing our breath. We keep that awareness of how we're breathing, and we'll never constrict our breath. Now from here, just hold on underneath your knees and bend the legs, and then we'll just come up to seated position. So you can rock up if you want, or you can just come onto the right side of your body and then come up like that. So whichever way you choose, come into a cross-leg position. This is called Shukrasana. Turn to the camera. So now you can look. And we're just going to take a few breaths here, feel that difference as to how we're breathing when we're lying down and when we're sitting. Roll the shoulders back, Take a deep breath in and breathe out. And a couple more times. In through the nose and out. So always in and out through the nose. Keep it up. And that way we're increasing our oxygen intake by about 20% as opposed to when we do mouth breathing. So that in itself is a good thing. We're also making sure that no toxins get into our lungs. Now from here, we want to register that pause that we're making at the top a little bit more. So you can exaggerate the pause if you like, and just hold for a little bit longer than you normally would. So we take a deep breath in, and then we hold. And whenever you're ready, you just let go, still through the nose. And 2 more times. In through the nose. Hold at the top. And breathe out. When you're ready, breathe in. Hold. And see how long it's comfortable to hold for you before you breathe out. Very good. And then just give yourself a smile, put that smile on your face, and maybe you can stay there for the duration of our class. It's going to help you. It's just one of those things that we can make ourselves. We can fake it till we make it, as they say. So from here, we're going to come into Bhagwanasana, or tabletop pose. We're going to spread our fingers wide, make sure that our wrists are directly underneath our shoulders, and our knees are underneath our hips and hip distance apart, just as the feet. Now from here, we're going to gently arch our back as we breathe in, and we gently look up, maybe towards the ceiling, maybe just forwards, depending on how you feel. And on the exhale, we round and drop our head. And then we inhale and arch. Keep your arms strong, don't sink into your shoulders. And on the exhale, we round. And again, we'll do this about 3 more times. And let your breath determine how fast you're taking this movement. You don't have to be as fast or slow as me. You can do your own thing and just see how that feels. And then we're going to come back into our neutral spine. We look onto the mat, just between our fingers, and then we tuck our toes under, and we straighten the legs and push our hips up. Take a few breaths here. Some nice grip on the mat here with your feet, with your hands. If your feet can't touch, if your heels can't touch the ground, you can just raise the heels off the ground and bend the legs as well. We want to focus on a straight upper body. And then from here, we're going to inhale our right leg up, bend and open up to the side. So we're pushing the right hip up. We keep the weight evenly distributed on our hands, and we can look up to the ceiling. And from here, we exhale and step our foot in between our hands. Now bring the back knee to the ground and just open up your thorax here. So bring the arms up if that's comfortable, or bring the hands behind your head if you prefer, and you can come into a back bend. But what we want to do here is just open up completely. So breathing in and out all the way. And on the next exhale, come down, and then we step back again. So back knee raises off the ground, and we come back into downward dog or Parvadasana, mountain pose. We can take this deeper, or we can stay a little bit higher. It doesn't matter if you want, because it's uncomfortable. You bring the feet a little bit further forward. So you can play around with this. This is your inversion. It doesn't have to look a certain way, as long as you're not sort of rounding forwards, hurting your shoulders. So creating a bit of space between your shoulders and your ears. Straight arms. And then inhale the left leg up and bend, and then now you can see you're pushing that hip open. So you're opening up to the left here, maybe looking towards the ceiling if that's not too much. Otherwise the head can just keep being dropped. You can flex the toes as well. Just depends on how you're feeling. And then exhale your leg forward, step the foot in between your hands. For some of you, if you're new, it might be a bit difficult to do this in one smooth movement. If you're here, just help yourself out and sink the hips down. Then bring your back knee to the ground. Inhale your arms up. Again, maybe interlocking the hands. It's always nice to sometimes, if you're normally interlocking this way, interlock the other way, see how that feels. Might feel strange. And we're breathing into our body, either in the back bend or not, just depending on how your back is, how you're feeling. Then take a deep inhale. On the exhale, bring your hands back down and step back into that inverted V. And then bring your knees to the ground and take a little rest in child's pose. If at any point in the next minutes that we're doing this video, you're feeling tired, you can return to child's pose. Or you can obviously pause that video as well. We're coming up again. We're coming back into our inversion. We're going to inhale our right leg up. Step forwards again, just like we did before. This time, if you can, keep that back knee off the ground as you come up. So the full Ashvasanjananasana. And we're holding just for a few more breaths. Just being aware of your deep and even breaths. And then we bring the hands down. And on the next inhale, we reach the right arm up. We sink the hips down, but we don't sink into our shoulder. We keep pushing away from the ground. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. If you want, you can open up a bit further. Really depends on your level. And again, if this is too strong for you, the knee can come to the ground as well. Take a deep breath in, then breathe out and come back down. And you will have guessed we're going to step back into our inversion. We're taking a couple of breaths here. And on the next inhale, we bring the left leg up and bring it forward. So just like we did before, we're sinking the hips down and finding our balance. We see if we can come up without our back leg touching the ground. We notice whether we want to come into a back bend. We take a few breaths. And then we come down. We stay here. And we inhale our right arm up. So this doesn't have to look the way that it looks here on me. We've all got different bodies. We might be new to yoga. I started when I was 8, and I also did gymnastics from 5 to 15 or something. So my body is different to yours, and everyone's body is different. So try to just stay with what feels good for you, rather than thinking it should look a certain way. It really doesn't have to. On the next exhale, bring your hand down and step back. From here, we're going to take another rest again. We're going to bring the knees to the ground and come into child's pose, Balasana. This time, bring your arms right by your side, palms face up, and you rest your forearms on the ground. And then from here, we slowly come up. You can use the next inhale for that. And then from here, we're going to come into another sort of nice chest opener, which is quite advanced. So I'll give it a few different options depending on your level. You'll either just bring your hands behind you, like so, and push your chest up. You can keep looking forward, or if it's comfortable, you can look up towards the ceiling. And then all we want to do here is just breathe. If this is not enough for you, you can come into the full camel pose or Ustrasana, just coming up to here, either tucking the toes under as you're bringing both hands behind you, or if you're quite advanced, bringing the hand onto the sole of the foot with the tops of the feet being on the ground. And then we look up, and rather than sinking towards the back, we push our hips forward and we relax as far as this is possible. So keep breathing, and if you feel like your breath is constricting you, then just change the pose. pose. It's a sign that you're a little bit too far in your pose. Deep breath in, and then on the out breath, come back up, come into Padmanasana again, and then we'll do another cat-cow stretch, but we'll focus on the rounded back. And stay here for a few breaths. And then on the next inhale, we come up. Arching our back, looking up. And on the exhale, we round our back and look down. Then we bring our feet together, our knees apart, and we come down onto the mat. You'll notice that my chest is touching the ground, which is why I'm looking forwards with my chin on the ground. But if you're a little bit tighter, you won't have your chest touch the ground, then just have your forehead on the mat. So we don't want to overstretch our cervical spine. You can, if you want to, bring the hands onto your shoulders. And then just take a few breaths. Slowly release, so hands come back. You bring your hands closer in, and then round forward, so you're dropping the chin, and bring the knees together. And then from here, you're just going to bring the feet onto the ground, maybe mat distance apart, maybe a little bit more, just depends on how you're feeling, how open you are. The closer, the better. But what we don't want is for our heels to raise off the ground. You can use blocks here, of course, but you can also just step the feet a bit further apart, keep the hands on the ground, and then make your way into this pose, Malasana Garland pose. Hands to your heart center. Our elbows can gently push the knees apart. And then we inhale and look up a little bit, making sure that we're straight in our spines. We're not rounding forwards. We're not just focusing on opening up here in the legs, in the hips. So we feel that stretch, but we're also focusing on our upper body. Are we still smiling? If you want to, you can close your eyes. Just get a feel for your body, for your breath. And then open your eyes again. Bring your hands down onto the ground. We're going to push our hips up from here. Bring the heels behind your toes and just relax down. And then shift your weight from side to side. And if you want to, if that's comfortable, you can step your feet a bit further apart here. And then shift your weight to one side of your hands, your torso. Then turn the toes out here and sink a little bit lower. If you've got tight hamstrings, you don't have to go that low. You can bend your leg a little bit as well. And then we take it to the other side. Toes turn in again. And we go all the way to the other side. And then we turn our toes out here. Sink down. And we breathe. It's hard for us to multitask. In fact, it doesn't work. So if we've got a task at hand and that task is something that we haven't done before, if it's a posture we haven't done before, we often tend to focus on that rather than our breath. So just keep reminding yourself of your breath, where it's going, how it's steadying you. And bring your hands back, turn the toes in, and then walk your feet in. Now I'm somewhere weird on my mat. If you're somewhere on the front of your mat, that would be perfect. Otherwise, just walk yourself forwards a little bit, because from here we're now going to inhale and step back. Sink down. We've been here before, so you know exactly what you're doing. But from here, we're just going to, on the next exhale, keep the hips down if we can, and step our left leg back. We're going to push away from the ground here. And we want our body to be in a straight line, so we're not dropping the hips. That's not very good for our lower back. We also don't want to bring the hips too high. And we might want to shift our weight slightly forwards. If this is too strong for you, bring the knees to the ground, nothing wrong with that. And breathe. And then on the next exhale, we bring the knees to the ground. We're going to hug our elbows in and bring the chest to the ground as the hips keep high. And then the chin rests on the ground, and we stay here for a few breaths. And then we use our next inhale to bring the hips down and the chest up. Just stay nice and low for the moment, hands on the ground, elbows still in, so they're not somewhere here. You're really working with your body here. Inhale again and bring the chest higher, and depending on how your back feels, you can come all the way up, still bending at the elbows, looking up, stretching your throat, and pushing your pubic bone into the ground. So we're not raising here, we're down here. Breathe in on the out breath, tuck the toes under and push back up into your inversion. And then get a little comfortable here. Pedal, if that feels nice. Open up to one side and to the other. Then raise your right leg all the way up, bend and open up. Again, you can turn your gaze towards the ceiling. You can flex your toes and bring the heel as close to your buttocks as you can. Make sure the weight is evenly distributed on your hands, and on the next exhale, slide forwards and bring the foot in between your hands. Sink down. And on the next exhale, whenever that is, we just step our left foot forwards and come back into Uttanasana, or forward fold. From here, if you fancy, if that feels nice, give your hands, your wrists, the heel of your hands a little rest by just holding on to your forearms or to your elbows. Drop the head, shake your head, nod your head, and then release the hands back to the ground. And on the next inhale, we're just going to raise our torso and straighten the arms, maybe look forwards and then back down onto the mat. If this is too much, bring your hands just to your shins here. Squeeze the shoulder blades, so we're not rounding, we want to be straight. Then we take a breath in, and on the exhale we come back down. And on the next inhale we step our left leg back. So we just do the other side of this, a little variation on Surya Namaskar, the sun salutation. We take a few breaths here. We sink the hips down, and then keeping the hips low, we use the next out breath to slide our right foot back. So back in the plank or deep Chaturanga Dandasana. We can bring the knees to the ground if that's more comfortable, but keep pushing away from the ground and not sinking into the shoulders either. Take a deep breath in, and then breathe out. Bring your knees to the ground again. Don't forget to hug the elbows in towards you as you bring the chest and chin to the ground. You can close your eyes here. We'll stay for a few breaths. And then on the next inhale, the chest will go up and the hips come down again. Tops of the feet come onto the mat. So squeeze your shoulder blades here and make sure the shoulders are away from the ears. Again, your elbows are in towards you. We look forward. We can stay here if this is enough for you. Otherwise, use the next inhale to come even higher. And no shoulders up. And then on the next exhale, look down and tuck your toes under as you come back into downward dog, Parvatasana. Adho Mukha Svanasana, whatever you want to call it. Inhale the left leg up now, bend the leg and open up the hips. Push that heel towards your buttocks and make sure that the weight on your hands is evenly distributed. Make sure you use your fingers as well, not just the heel of the hands. On the next exhale, take it forward, hand, foot, hand. Sink down. Breathe. Maybe look forward. And on the next exhale, step forward into a forward fold. This time, try and hold on to your legs. So just wrap your arms around your legs. Drop your head towards the legs, but more importantly than what the head does, bring your lower belly close to your thighs. For some of you this will look like that, that's absolutely fine. It might feel nice to rest your chest on your legs like that. And then from here slowly release and come down onto your back. So stretching out on the mat, not in Shavasana or corpse pose yet. Our feet are together, our hands are directly next to our buttocks. And then we glue our lower back to the mat. From here, depending on your core strength, you can raise the legs off the ground like this. If you need a little bit more, if you notice this is too much for your back, protect your back by bringing your hands underneath you and come here. If this is still not enough, hands can stay here and you just bring the knees up. So different options here, but we're just raising our legs. Now come a little bit higher to around 30 degrees. That was probably not 30, this is 45. And from here, as you keep breathing, bring the legs up to 90 degrees. So we are where we started, and we're breathing. Notice how you're feeling now versus how you felt at the beginning. And try not to judge. We can compare, but we don't have to judge. And we just want to notice things about our body. And then from here, you can use momentum to bring your legs over to the other side. Or you can use your core. So different ways, either like this, or you can bend and help yourself out. And maybe you're not going to reach all the way, maybe you're somewhere here, and that's enough as well. Wherever you are, that's where you stay. You can hold onto your back, or you can just relax your hands onto the ground. You can interlock them. And then for a deeper stretch of your back, push the palms away from you with the thumbs on the ground. Now the hips want to come as close over your head as possible. You've got that chin lock. And you're tucking the toes under, pushing the heels towards the back. Now release your hands onto your back, and one by one or at the same time, doesn't matter, you bring yourself up into the shoulder stand, and then you can, if you want to, bring the soles of the feet together. If you're dropping a little bit, don't worry too much, it's fine. It's that inversion that is really good for us and the things that it does to our spinal cord. So wherever you are, that's where you stay. If for some reason, because you've got blood pressure issues or a heart condition or something, you don't want to be in the shoulder stand, Sarvangasana, you can always just be here, having your back on the mat and the legs up against the wall. This is a beautiful position to hold. If you're pregnant, you shouldn't hold for that long, but you're fine to do this pose. If this gets too much for you, you can actually find a wall. So this is called Ardha Halasana, the half plow. but in English it's often called the legs up the wall position. You can actually use a wall here if you like. If you're still in Sarvangasana and you feel like it, you can come back into Halasana and into Karnapirasana, the ear pressing pose. So we're bringing our lower legs onto the ground and press our knees in towards our ears. And then from here, no matter where you are, you can roll down onto your back and just relax. So straightening the legs away from you, and then we're going to bring our hands underneath us. We'll bring the elbows in, and then we push ourselves up onto our forearms, nice and easy, and then we just drop the head towards the back. And you might notice that it feels comfortable to bring the crown of the head onto the ground. If it doesn't feel comfortable, don't worry. You can just stay wherever you are. What we want here, what we want to focus on is that stretching of our throat. Deep breaths. If you're quite advanced and you've got the crown of the head on the ground, you can reach the arms up and the legs up, but you don't have to. Wherever you are, take a couple more breaths. And then slowly bring your head up into a neutral position and come onto your back. Hug your knees in towards you. Rock from side to side. And then we come into Anandasana, or Happy Baby, where we just slide the hands all the way down to the soles of our feet. Hold on here. Push the feet up and pull your knees down. So you want to relax your neck muscles here. The back of your head should be on the ground. If you're somewhere here and you're bending or something, that's fine, as long as you're not putting any strain on your neck muscles. And then you can use any out-breath, every out-breath you're taking, to just deepen that stretch a little bit. If you haven't got this 90-degree angle here, that's fine as well. You can just bring the feet down a little bit if you're tight. You can close your eyes if you want. Take another deep breath in. And on the out breath, bring your feet together again. Hug the knees in towards you. And then from here, in your own time, come into the right side of your body and make your way up into a seated position. So you can be in Shukrasana. This tends to be the most comfortable pose. If you're fine sitting on your heels, you can absolutely come into Vajrasana as well. It feels quite nice, and you're basically not constricting your upper body that way, especially your diaphragm. As I said, the diaphragmatic breath is the one that we're using in yoga because that activates the larger, the lower area of the lungs. So that's the one we want to work with, whilst not forgetting our clavicular and intercostal breath. So just rest your hands on your thighs and maybe close your eyes. So you don't need to watch now. I'll talk you through it. All we want to do is just find our breath again. And then we want to remind ourselves of trying to breathe out for longer than we breathe in, without putting pressure on our diaphragm. Just getting used to giving our out breath the attention that it deserves. So it's those extended long exhalations that create a calm chemistry in our body. Good. And now from here, we're going to use our mirror. We're going to use our right thumb to close off the right nostril and just breathe in and out through the left ear. change sides, we close off our left nostril with our forefinger and just breathe in and out through the right. One more inhale and exhale, and then you can release your hands for a moment. So what we're starting to do here is we cleanse our energy channels. We're also, well, we're going to struggle if we've got a cold, so if you do have a cold, just stick with deep breaths in and elongated breaths out. If you're pregnant, you've got a heart condition or blood pressure issues, then please skip that retention of breath that I'm now going to talk you through, but you can work on that ratio I'm telling you. So what we want to do is breathe in for 1, hold for 4, and breathe out for 2. We'll do a few of those together where I'll count for you, but then you'll find your own rhythm, just depending on how long you can hold your breath. Again, skip that one if you've got any issues, or if you're unsure, or if it makes you feel dizzy for whatever reason. So then you can still do the in for 1 and out for 2. It's just the same process. We're just going to breathe in through the left nostril, hold, and then breathe out through the right. And then our hands are going to stay as they are, and we're breathing in, hold, and out. So that's all we're doing. This is the movement of the hands, fairly simple. And we're now going to do it together. So deep breath in for 1, hold, 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 and then breathe out, out, and in, hold, and out. So take a little moment here. It's obviously difficult to do this when someone else tells you how to breathe. This is why it's easier for you to do it by yourself. You can join me in my tempo, but you can find your own, just remembering in for 1, out for twice as long, and if you want to do the hold, then hold for 4 times as long as you have breathed in. So from now, go. You just give yourself a little break. So this way of breathing is obviously quite different than what we do normally. The retention of breath is there to expand our lung capacity. For the purposes of this video, it's actually just the extended exhalations that we want to focus on. So that's Anulom Vilom or Nadi Shodhan, which we've also got a separate video that explains a little bit more if you're interested. We're now going to do Brahmri, or the humming bee. We're just going to start by humming out, which is very, very easy. So just relax, close your eyes, take a deep breath in and hum out with me. Very good. That hopefully felt nice already. So we're gonna add something to it. The humming out, I don't know if I've explained that at the beginning, is basically also activating our vagus nerve faster than just a prolonged exhalation does, because the vagus nerve is connected to our throat and our vocal cords, as well as our lungs, our gut, our knees, etc. So this is the fastest way to calm you down, to create a happy chemistry in your body, and I just think that's a really beautiful thing to do, because what we wanted to do here is not think ourselves happy, but maybe right now we're feeling a little bit better than when we started the video. So what we're going to add to it now is a short in hum, or not so much a short in hum, but it will naturally be shorter than your out hum. That's just the way we are, and that's why we're doing it. We're just used to humming out or creating sound while we're talking, while we're getting rid of air. But the opposite is obviously not that not that common for us. So we're just going to take a deep breath in with our mouth open, if that's easier, and then create a little bit of sound. So think of a shocking situation or something like that in which you've gone, so that's the sound that we're looking for. And then try and do that with your mouth closed as well. So you're not getting anything into your lungs that shouldn't be in there. So you can try with your mouth open if you want first, and then see if the same is possible for you as you're closing your mouth. So you might notice that the more you do this, and you can do this in your own time, the more you do this, the more normal it becomes for us to do this. So it's just something we're not used to, and we're trying to just make ourselves get used to something we haven't done before. So it takes a little bit of time for that to become our normal, but once it does, you can start combining the in hum and the out hum. So just going, if it's easier, starting with the out hum. So just a nice fluid movement, just like our breath is fluid and is constantly there. This is what we want to do with Brahmi or the humming bee as well. Now what you can do as well is turn your senses inward. Just get a sense of what's going on inside of your body. And the reason this is called the humming bee is because it sounds even more like a bee that's inside of you creating a sound. So it's actually quite scary. So it sounds like a bee, the sound you're creating, even more so when you're closing off the ears with your thumb. So just pressing onto the tragus of your ears, not putting the thumb inside your ear. And then just holding your eyes closed. If you want, with all of your fingers, otherwise Shanmukhi Mudra looks like this. But if you want to get rid of all artificial light, then you can be here. And because you probably won't hear me while you're closing off your ears, we'll just do 5 hums in and out. So altogether 10 humming sounds. And then we'll just release our hands after that. Once your hands are back on your lap, you can bring your hands into Gyan Mudra, pressing the thumb and forefingertip together, reaching the remaining fingers away from you, just having the tops of the hands rest on your thighs so you're relaxing, slide the shoulders down, maybe just tip your head to the left and then to the right, very gently, so not too fast. From here, bring your head back up, tip your head forward, and then come back up. You can keep your eyes closed and do one round of Om with me. Take a deep breath in. And then rub your hands together. Press your palms on your face. Bring the hands to your heart center. You can open your eyes. Thank you very much for watching this video. Check out our other videos that we go into more detail about some of the poses that you've seen, and I hope you enjoyed it. Bye!